Hello guys, and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be reacting to Ali Abdaal's Life OS VSL. What we're going to be doing is going over his Life OS PTYA VSL. We're going to be reacting to it, and then I'm just going to be giving you my exact thoughts. So I'm not going to do any major cuts. I'm just going to go through the entire thing, and without further ado, let's go.
Hello, how's it going? Welcome to the Part-Time YouTuber Academy. Now, if you're watching this video, then I suspect you're probably interested in growing a YouTube channel. Maybe you're a complete beginner and you are overwhelmed with all of the information out there and all of the stuff you have to learn in order to grow a YouTube channel successfully. Maybe you're a bit more experienced. You might have been doing YouTube for a while.
Notice how he's trying to have the audience identify with who they are right now. However, it's a bit slow paced. It's quite slow paced, and it's been 17 seconds. Normally in the first few seconds you'll have to get their attention immediately. That's something that Ali Abdaal has to work on, is that he's quite slow paced, which is fine for a style of videos, but for VSLs doesn't really work.
But you're not really getting the traction that you want. You're struggling with consistency. You're not sure if you've got the right strategy. You're always worrying about what's your niche. Or maybe you've got some sort of business and you recognize the value in a YouTube channel in generating organic leads for that business. But again, there's all this information out there and you don't really know where to begin. Now, if any of that resonates with you,
I'm gonna turn on captions just in case.
Then I think the Part-Time YouTuber Academy is just what you need. And in the rest of this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. Now, if we haven't yet met, then hello, my name is Ali. I'm a doctor turned entrepreneur and writer. And that is really just thanks to my YouTube channel. Because back in 2017, when I was a medical student at Cambridge University, I decided to start making YouTube videos. And I started with 0 subscribers and 0 views, and I was making no money, and I knew nothing about how to make videos, how to film, how to edit. But through painstaking trial and error, I managed to teach myself the skills of how to grow a YouTube channel. And in the first 3 years of my journey,
the whole part where he was talking about when he was a beginner, he's trying to have the audience self-identify with himself, but himself when he was a beginner. So it's kind of the same thing, but it's good.
YouTube channel grew from 0 to over 1 million subscribers, and I did all of that while working full-time as a junior doctor in the UK's National Health Service, working 60-hour weeks, commuting 2 hours to work here in...
This is basically him saying, if I can do it, you can too, which is kind of a pain point, kind of a dream life, and it's just like, it's kind of a bridge in between. It's more of a pain point because it's like saying, hold up. Because it's like saying, it's fine, because it's kind of more like a pain point, because it's like saying, if I can do it and you're not doing it, well, it depends how you interpret it, but I interpret it more as a pain point. So
back working during the pandemic as well, and growing the YouTube channel and my business alongside that. And then thanks to the success of my YouTube channel, I was able to quit my day job, become a full-time entrepreneur, start
dream life,
building software, get a book deal with Penguin and Macmillan, publish a book that hit the New York Times bestseller list, and now my life is completely different. I could not even have imagined the position I'm now in, where we've got a team of 20 people, got a business that does over $5 million a year in revenue, and my YouTube channel now has over 5.7 million subscribers at the time of recording, and I still only spend about 1 day a week on my YouTube channel. Now,
again, dream life, spending only 1 day a week on your YouTube channel, very manageable, and it's basically saying, if I can do it, you can too.
Over the years, loads of people have been asking me, what is the secret to success on YouTube? How do you grow a YouTube channel, crucially, without it completely taking over your life? How do you grow a potentially life-changing YouTube channel while you're busy, while you've got a job, while you've got family responsibilities, while you have some hobbies outside of just making YouTube videos? And because I kept on getting those questions, a few years ago, I created the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, which basically condenses everything that I and my team have learned over the last 7+ years of growing a YouTube channel. It also includes a bunch of insights from other friends of mine, because as you grow on YouTube. You become friends with other big YouTubers. When we get together, we talk about YouTube.
This part is a bit excessive. He's kind of dragging it out. When he mentioned part-time YouTuber Academy, he should have just dived straight into the offer and what it's about.
And strategy and niching and thumbnails and stuff. All of that knowledge is also in the Part-Time YouTuber Academy. And we've had thousands of students go through the Part-Time YouTuber Academy over the last several years. And on this page, you'll find a bunch of case studies and testimonials from students who've been really successful. And a bit later on in this video, you're gonna hear from a bunch of our students and what they specifically had to say about the course. But before we go there, I just wanna kind of give you a bit of an overview of what it takes to grow on YouTube. And the way I think about it is that it's really about three key things. Firstly is consistency. You have to be consistent in making YouTube videos. It doesn't necessarily have to be once a week, although that's what I recommend for a lot of channels, but it just needs to be consistent. There is no one who grows on YouTube sustainably who hasn't found a way to be consistent with the process. Secondly, your videos actually need to be good. You need quality videos. Consistency alone is not enough. YouTube is getting more and more competitive than ever before. And something I often say,
I know my YouTube videos are a bit yappy and I kind of drag out topics a little bit much in my YouTube videos, but I don't do that in my VSLs. The reason why I do that in my YouTube videos is because I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm trying to give value, and a VSL is also kind of giving value, but it's way more refined, and it just has to reach a way higher bar than a YouTube video. So that's why him saying so much stuff, it could be fine in a YouTube video, but it's not going to be fine in a VSL.
Is that it's never been easier to grow a YouTube channel if your videos are good, but it's never been harder to grow a YouTube channel if your videos are bad. So you need consistent videos, but you also need them to be good meaning valuable to your audience. And then the third piece of the puzzle is that you need the right strategy. I suspect if you're watching this, you probably have a lot of different interests. Maybe you're interested in personal development and productivity and personal finance and business and playing the guitar. You probably have all these different interests, but trying to build a YouTube channel where you're talking about all of your different interests is a recipe for disaster. It's like trying to compete with Amazon by creating the everything store. The way Amazon grew is that they started with just books, and then they slowly expanded out their niche to include more and more things, to eventually become Amazon. One of the mistakes I see with so many YouTubers is that they're just trying to do too many things. They're just trying to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, and just like, oh, I just want to make videos about what interests me. You can make videos about what interests.
This is about the point where I started to get bored, right? So around 3 minutes, 54 seconds, and all he really has said is the intro, and basically he's talking about YouTube needing quality, consistency, and strategy. So 3 minutes, 54 seconds, all of this could have been condensed in a minute. So the pacing's off, okay? The pacing's off, and it kind of bothers me, but let's continue.
You, and that is definitely part of being a YouTuber. But if you really want to grow on YouTube, a lot of it is about shifting from thinking of it as a hobby that you do for fun and more towards thinking of it like a little bit of a business where your goal is to provide value to other people, because you only grow on YouTube when you're providing value to others. So really, it's about consistency meets quality meets strategy, and all three of those things are things that we cover in our course, the Part-Time YouTuber Academy.
You don't need to say that. Respectfully, no shit, you cover that. Okay, I love Ali Abdaal, okay? His productivity advice is amazing, but honestly, obviously it's part of the course. You just spent 2 minutes talking about it. I'm not dogging him, but as a VSL, from a VSL writer to a VSL, it doesn't work out.
On the consistency piece, you get access to our YouTube operating system. This is a whole system that we've created over the last several years to try and make it as effortless as possible to create YouTube videos consistently. So things like idea generation, titles, thumbnails, hooks, how to script videos in a way that doesn't take up your entire life, how to film videos in an effective and productive way, how to edit videos, or even outsource your editing so that you don't have to edit your videos. Building these sorts of systems around your channel can really help you unlock that consistency. Then we have the strategy piece, and this is where it's about making the right videos. It's about figuring out what your niche is, identifying your target market, figuring out what your value proposition is, analyzing the competitive landscape to see how saturated is this niche that you potentially want to go down, figuring out what are your competitive advantages, what are the ways you might be able to stand out from the crowd. And then finally, we have the quality piece, which is in a way the hardest part. Like, how do you actually make good videos? Now, this could be a whole like 10-year-long university degree, PhD in and of itself, because there's obviously an infinite amount you could do to make
something. So I'm going to talk about the VSL first. Here, what you notice how he brought up quality, consistency, quality, and strategy. So it's like ABC. And then after talking about ABC problems, he talks about ABC solutions. The thing with VSLs is that takes too long, right? The way you get people to keep their attention is that you talk about problem A and then you give them a solution for A. You give them problem B and then you give them solution B. So it's A, B, B, C, C, right? It's just problem, solution, problem, solution, problem, solution. You don't build up problems, because by the time you get to the solutions, but by the time you get to the solutions A, they've already forgotten what a problem is, right? When he was talking about how it's like when you lose something in the first few minutes, it feels really weird when you lose it. That's the problem. But then so that when you find it immediately, like the huge wave of relief is much bigger than if you lost it for 10 years and then you already lived without it, you're already forgotten about it, and then you found it again. So you should problem, solution, problem, solution, problem, solution. The second thing that I just realized is that it's pretty funny, because if I make enough money, right, I'm probably going to want to grow my YouTube channel. So I'm probably going to want to go for this course. I'm not personally in this course, but if the circumstances are right, I might enroll. And it would be funny if I joined the course and they ask me what my prior experience with YouTube is, and I show them this video of me dogging their PTYA VSL.
Better YouTube videos, but what we've tried to do is to distill it to the 80-20. What is the 20% of stuff that really moves the needle and drives 80% of the results? So we talk about titles, we talk about thumbnails, we talk about hooks, storytelling, branding, camera quality, production value, editing, camera confidence.
Too much.
All of these different aspects of being a YouTuber that are associated with making high quality videos. And you get all of that condensed within the course, the Part-Time YouTuber Academy. So those three components, consistency, quality, and strategy, are what it takes to grow a YouTube channel. But then there's also a monetization and kind of business component to it, which is where you turn your YouTube channel into a sustainable and thriving creative business. So we've got modules on monetization and how to think about that. And then finally, underneath all of this, there is the layer of emotions. There is the roller coaster of being a YouTuber. If you're a beginner, then you probably vibe with the fear of putting yourself out there. If you have made any amount of YouTube videos, you probably understand what it feels like to be on that roller coaster, like worrying about what the algorithm thinks, trying to look at your analytics, trying to figure out why your videos aren't performing, feeling burnt out because like, you don't really want to make that video, or all of the emotions associated with YouTube. And so what we try and do throughout the course, and especially in our community, is we try and address these emotional issues to help you basically realize that you're not alone if you're finding that growing on YouTube is really hard.
Realize that a good thing he just did, if you realize, is that he spent quite a large chunk self-identifying. Well, not him identifying, but having you or the viewer self-identify with, the roller coaster of emotions, blah, blah, blah. And emotions are something that if you can get right in a VSL, like here, this part, the emotions part was really good. If you can get the emotions right, it's people's emotions, they're more connected with their emotions than anything. It's like it's more powerful to have someone identify with the fear of putting themselves out there than for them to identify with owning the same Lego toy, It's emotions. If you can have people self-identify with emotions, that's great. If not, still try.
really emotionally draining. You are not alone. You're surrounded by a community of like-minded people. The community is actually one of the parts of the Part-Time YouTuber Academy that is most raved about. We also host in-person meetups every now and then. We did one in London the other day, we did one in Austin. And within the community, we have regular online community events that you can join completely for free if you're part of the community. And you can find loads more information about that on this page as well. Now, I want to end with a few stories from our students. So firstly, let's start with the complete beginners. Now, this is Izzy.
Obviously, this is not my first time watching this VSL. So, I'm going to play the rest of this. But the main problem here is that if you realize the timeline, it's currently 6 minutes and 48 seconds into the VSL. And the whole VSL is around 15-ish minutes long. He spends almost over half the VSL just listing out testimonials. And the bad part with that is that, first of all, too many VSLs, people are going to get bored. Second of all, they're not going to self-identify as much. I'd rather have only 2 testimonials, but really get in their character and tell a really good story for these 2 case studies so that the person watching will self-identify with them. Later on, the problem with having so many case studies or testimonials is that it's really they feel more fictional. You don't really get to tell a really good story about them, and they feel more fictional than if you only had 2 case studies or 3, maybe in this case, where I really told a good story, went from where they were to where they are now, and that just feels way more realistic to the viewer. So I'm gonna just play it since I promised to play everything. So
now, she started her YouTube channel at the time that she took the Part-Time YouTuber Academy when she was a complete beginner. She knew nothing about making videos. And a few years later, Izzy now has over 600,000 subscribers, and this is what she had to say about the Part-Time YouTuber Academy.
Firstly, I think the content is super helpful, especially for someone who's beginner or just started on YouTube, to really give them an idea of the YouTube landscape and how everything works. And secondly, actually I think this is maybe the biggest reason, is the amazing community of like-minded creators that are all together in PTYA. And actually I've made some amazing friends in PTYA, and that side of the community is something I never expected and has actually been the most valuable takeaway from PTYA. So I'd highly recommend getting involved with PTYA for the content, but also the community. And I think the community is really what we remember, those connections and the friends we make along the way.
Next up, we've got Ellie Jean, who's a fashion and style consultant. Now,
sorry for pausing, but notice how short that was. You didn't really know anything about her before you moved to Ellie right here. And secondly, something I forgot to mention, the case studies feel a bit fake. The way that Izzy was talking about PTYA, it felt like it was rehearsed, right? And this is my theory at least, but just continue watching and then imagine Ollie sending them a WhatsApp message saying, "Oh, hi, this is Ali. I'm making a VSL for PTYA. Can you answer the following questions?" And it's just a few questions about PTYA, and they're just recording themselves answering it. That's what it feels like. Personally, it doesn't really sit right with me because it just feels fake, Like, people are obviously, they don't want to talk bad about your community, and even if you give them a script to say, you don't want them to be perfect, right? It's like, you'd rather have something, you have to embrace the imperfection. You can't be perfect. You can't only have good things said about you, because nothing is perfect, and if you try to be perfect, people are going to be like, that's kind of fake, so.
She took the Part-Time YouTuber Academy when she had around 1,000 subscribers on her channel, and after taking the YouTuber Academy, her growth has absolutely skyrocketed, and she now has around 350,000 subscribers.
I found loads of really great resources through the Academy. It's really helped me to think about capturing everything that I see and putting it somewhere where I can return to it. I would recommend others to join the PTYA because it's such an amazing community. First of all, the feedback that I got on every video was so valuable. It was so detailed, and I learned so much that I can apply to every video that I make ever again.
And then we have Clara, who is a doctor and YouTuber who joined YouTuber Academy when she had around 600 subscribers, but then within a year of taking the course, her channel had blown up to over 85,000 subscribers, and now she's got over 200,000.
As an absolute beginner, when I joined the PTYA, I didn't have a well-defined niche and target audience. After taking the course, I knew exactly who my target audience was and what I needed to make good quality videos. And since then, I've gone from around 600 subs to more than 85k, and it feels great. If you're serious about YouTube, the PTYA is a solid course, and it's going to help you get your videos and your channel to the next level. You can network and get advice and feedback from others.
I forgot. I didn't notice for the other ones, but if you look at the top left corner, they literally have the questions right there.
Professional YouTubers,
This is the first time I've noticed that, by the way.
videographers, great editors, and other amazing people. The PTYA is so much more than just a valuable course. It's a whole ecosystem designed to help you succeed at YouTube and change your life.
We've also had people who are more intermediate who took the course. So for example, there's John Coogan, who was one of our most impressive and consistent students. Now he started making videos before joining the YouTuber Academy, but he was only at around 1,000 subscribers when he joined, and he was getting less than 1,000 views per video. But then after taking the course, one of his videos took off and the channel has not stopped growing since, and he's currently at over 400,000 subscribers, and this is what he had to say about the course.
I thought the PTYA would be a great place to go and see kind of a full picture of all of the different skills that you need to put together in order to run a successful channel. Having a smaller community to kind of compete with really motivated me to kind of bring my A game. Since PTYA, the channel's grown a ton. A good video would get about 100 views before PTYA, and now I'm getting like 50,000 views every video, which is crazy. I do think PTYA is the best course I've seen on the topic.
And then we have Tiago Forte. Now Tiago is interesting because he actually had his own 7-figure business where he was selling productivity themed courses, and he decided to double down on YouTube. And he actually hired one of our former students, Mark Koenig, who was a student of the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, and his channel has absolutely exploded over the last 2 years to over 250,000 subscribers. And Tiago actually attributes a lot of his business revenue and even his book sales to the fact that he has a YouTube channel.
I wanted to build an entirely new channel for my business, but I didn't want to have to learn all the ins and outs of lighting and sound and all these things. I knew someone had to, but as the owner of a business, I really wanted to acquire that expertise. So I really looked for someone who had been through a course like this one. All of that allowed us to just grow much, much faster than if I had to deal with those things myself. If you're coming to YouTube to just find a new way to distribute your ideas and find subscribers, I would really look for someone who's been through this program. And I can't imagine, I don't know of any other program that does that better than Part-Time YouTuber Academy.
And then in terms of advanced students who still got value from the YouTuber Academy. So for example, this is Ethan Shableski, and he's a fantastic cooking YouTuber. He took the Part-Time YouTuber Academy when he had 400,000 subscribers, but now he's got over 2 million. And this is what he had to say about the course.
And Ali is right in that there's no secret trick to making it successful on YouTube. So as a full-time content creator already, when I took the course, I was most interested kind of in expanding and monetizing to the latter half of the curriculum, but I really did find just as much value in those first couple of weeks around building, conceiving, and creating content. So basically, it took me around 150 so videos and a lot of trial and error to kind of learn and brute force my way to become successful. But what he's gonna do in those first couple of weeks is basically leap you way ahead of that curve so you can start on the right foot, and maybe more importantly, he's gonna put structure and systems in place so you can consistently turn out better and better content, which is ultimately how you're gonna reach your goals on YouTube.
And then we've got Chris Williamson. Now, Chris has a podcast called Modern Wisdom, which at the time he took the course had about 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, but Chris now has over 2.4 million subscribers, and his podcast is one of the biggest in the world, and here is what he had to say about the course.
I'm a big fan of the Part-Time YouTuber Academy because it really helped to take me from total noob with regards to how YouTube works to pretty well informed. I understood the physics of the platform. I understood the reason that you need to create a hook, the way to design your thumbnails, the way to set up both your lighting and your camera. It was just a one-stop shop for me. I'd already done quite a lot of learning online on my own. I had taken a couple of other courses.
This is a really, really good testimonial. First of all, this guy is absolutely amazing. Second of all, he's being honest that he's taken other courses, and this is why it feels more authentic.
That were a little bit smaller, and this was my time to turn pro with going onto YouTube, and it made a massive difference. Ali and the content that him and the guys have created is very, very useful, and still now, 3 years after taking the course, I am continuing to rely on some of the resources that I took from it then. I highly recommend it. You should check it out.
And then we've got Ankur Waraku. Now, Ankur took the Part-Time YouTuber Academy when he was already making YouTube videos for 3 years, and he was on around 36,000 subscribers. Now, that is pretty good, but look at what happened to his growth after he took the course. Ankur is now at over 4.5 million subscribers, and now, of course, correlation is not actually causation, but here is what Ankur had to say about the course.
I had been running content for the last 3 years up until that point on YouTube, on Instagram, but frankly, things had not worked the way that I'd planned for. The growth was slow, it was inconsistent, and I didn't know what was lacking, so when the course came about in my life, it was instantly and starkly clear very early on what was missing. And I believe I learned so much from the community that Ali and his team had built and recruited around the course itself. Of course, the content and Ali's own experience of running his YouTube channel and getting it to scale. And the biggest thing that I believe I derived from that was the concept of the infinite content engine, a way to continuously and almost infinitely create content on multiple ideas that you're passionate about, that you believe that the world can benefit from. And I've been blessed to have Ali as a mentor and as somebody that I've looked up to all these years, drawn so much from, both as inspiration as well as just content in such high quality measures, that I would absolutely recommend PTYA to anybody who wishes to start on their YouTube or content creation journey. It's brilliant to be amongst like-minded people. It's so awesome to be connected with people from across the world, draw from their experiences, from their worldview, and to then identify your own path in the entire circle and community. It's wonderful that this program continues to thrive, continues to flourish, and it's not a surprise that it has gone to the scale that it has. And my congratulations to Ali and team for pulling it off so consistently well, which is so true of how he's done things so far.
So, as you can see, there's a bunch of different stories that we've got from our students, from beginners to intermediate to advanced students.
Something that I don't really like is that he makes it very blatant, like, oh, here are some stories from our students, blah, 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 blah. But in the VSL, you don't really want to. It's like suddenly in the middle of a book saying, okay, this book is halfway done, or what you're about to read next is fake. It kind of just like cuts in the middle and then makes you stops like the immersion. So should be. If I was writing it, it would be more integrated into the VSL. Obviously, it's not as extreme as just saying, pause, you are reading this is a fictional video, or this book is fictional. Like, obviously, it's not that extreme, but you get my point.
I suspect whatever level of YouTube you're at, there will be something in this course for you. You can find loads more information on this page, and we also have a special Help Ali Sleep at Night money back guarantee. Basically, to be honest, I care a lot what other people think of me. I have a chronic need.
Something I don't like about here is that maybe it's just me as a person, but the way he structured this money back guarantee is based around himself. Where he's like, oh, I have this money back guarantee because I need chronic need for approval, and I need good sleep. However, he doesn't focus on the fact that the money back guarantee at the core of it is so that you don't have much risk, right? Instead of focusing on you not having risk, he focused on himself. Like, obviously, I'm not saying he's selfish. He's one of the most selfless guys I've ever met. I've met him in person. He's amazing, but I think that this was just a bad idea for the script. So he should have been like, and if you really don't want to risk any of your capital, really don't want to risk any of your money, there's a money back guarantee. Just email us within 30 days. You can go through the entire course, and if you don't like it, we'll refund you immediately, and just tell us why. No cost to you, no cost. Completely completely fine.
For approval, which is why I decided to be a YouTuber in the first place. And so we have a money back guarantee where if you take the course and you don't like it, you just email us and we will give you your money back. We will just ask you one question, which is what can we do to improve the course? Because obviously we want it to be actually good. So that's it from me. If you've gotten to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Please do check out the rest of this information on this page if you want to find out more. And if you like, potentially we will see you on the other side. Bye-bye.
And at the end, he said, if you like, potentially. In marketing, it's not really about choices, is it? It's about saying, well, I don't want to say that we're forcing you, but in marketing, it should feel like you shouldn't make, to be good at marketing, you have to frame it as they either don't have a choice or they have a choice between two things and both things benefit you. It's like choosing between a cheaper option and a more expensive option. Either way, you're going to make profit, right? So you shouldn't have them be able to choose to just leave, right? Because then you lose the sale. So that's what it's not as bad as all the other stuff that I mentioned in this video, but this video is getting way too long. If you want a VSL for yourself, then go to the website below and we'll give you a quote, or work with us if you want. I'm saying if you want because I'm here to deliver value. If you want a VSL, go to the website. If you want a free audit or a free quote for a VSL for your website, I'll go over what type of VSL you need, if you need a VSL at all, blah, blah, blah. Or if you want free resources, also go to the website or join the newsletter. Everything's going to be in the description or the pinned comment. Just check both. Thank you very much. I'll have, for the resources, I have audits of other websites. I'll have free dissections, including the dissection for this VSL coming pretty soon. I have a dissection for Ali Abdaal's LifeOS VSL. So that's about it. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please like, comment, subscribe. And if there's anything you don't like, just comment. I'm not going to be offended. I'll see you in the next episode. See ya.